Take number 5. Hi guys, Ryan here from the London Craftsman, and today I'm going to be priming my Graco 695 to take some hard wearing matte. To the side of me I've got all my MDF pieces that have had their primer put on, which is 2 coats of primer both sides. After the first coat it was sanded down with P240, brought back in for its second coat. And like I said before, and what I'm using is the hard wearing matte. It says it's for walls, ceilings and wood, because the customer wants a flat finish, no sheen. I'm not going for my usual 3 coats of this and no undercoat. I did use 2 coats of undercoat because, you know, matte is quite a chalky paint. I want a good decent primer to key onto the MDF, whereas when I use the eggshells and the silks, that first layer sticks like glue. It's really tough. So I'm on the machine. I've had a few problems in the last day or so with it where it wasn't priming. Tried everything, changing the tips, the filters, cleaning the machine out. It's quite strange because just after I finished spraying my stair gate and the baby gate, changed the paint over, we've done all my usual cleaning, put new paint back in, which is the primer, and it just wasn't spraying. I was spraying it going, wow, what's happening here? I had to turn the pressure right up to 3000 PSI before I even got a decent fan. So, a bit stumped on that. So I spoke to a guy at High Tech Spray, absolutely amazing company they are. They'll do anything to help you. You call them, they've got all the time in the world for you, proper company, and that's how a company should be run. Speak to their customers brilliantly, they get back to you, they give you free advice. So I do recommend them highly. They also service our machines and sell us parts as well. So that is High Tech Spray, or Spray Direct is the bigger part of their company, in Maidstone, Kent. And what he's done, free of charge, he sent me a manifold filter, blue one, and a gun filter. Both fine mesh. He's saying to me, if you're running anything around 1400 PSI mark, you need the fine mesh filters. So he sent me those because I didn't have any, and on the phone he was saying, put your filters in, and I said I only had the black one. So he said, I'm going to get you these by the next day, and he's also given me a 310, Graco 310 fine finish tip, which again, really amazing. Didn't charge me for these, just sent them through to me. Spoke to him at probably 11, 12 o'clock one day, and by about 11 o'clock the next day they had arrived, not even that, 10 o'clock. But I was out measuring, so I couldn't actually fit them just then. So it's the next day, I'm going to try loading it up, and so I'm actually going to be showing you how I prime my paint. So first things first, I've got the gun off of my hose. I've got it in the gun mode, and let's just turn it on just to show you that it's clean. I've just got it set at low pressure. There you go, it's running out clear. And I have the gun off when I'm cleaning out the hose, just so you're not wearing out your tips. And if you have it set in the gun mode, a bit of water also comes out of this hose as well, so you're sort of flushing out both at the same time. But anyway, cleaning out your machine's a little bit different from priming, so I'm not showing you that, I'm showing you setting up. Turn my machine on. I'm going to be putting all my new filters in now. You can see it's nice and clean. Yeah, not an ounce of paint left in it. Yeah, really nice and clean. And this is the black filter. And I actually thought bigger holes would be better if you're getting blockages. So this is the bigger hold mesh. The blue is the finer mesh. But when I actually think about it, if I'm getting blockages, maybe the paint isn't getting atomized or split up enough before it gets to the gun. It's building up the pressure, but as it goes through this filter, it's not getting, yeah, atomized. I don't really know the terms. So putting that one in. Always nice to put a brand new filter in. And High Tech Spray do all our servicing. really, really competitively priced. I think it's about 240 quid to properly service this. New packings, clean your gun up, so they take the gun off and clean it up with a wire brush, and took this off and cleaned it out all down and freed up the ball that was a bit stuck. Like I said, new packings, and their turnaround time is very quick. So let's get the gun. So there we go, I've got my gun head, I've got my tip. I'm using a bit of a crusty looking one. It is actually new, but I've changed the seat on it. So the little rubber seal and the seat, I changed that because I always get spares. Whenever I buy a new tip, it comes with the new seats, doesn't it? So I tried to put a new one in this guard, which is a bit crusty. So even though it looks crusty, it's still got a new guard, a new seat on it. I'm going to get that screwed up. Not tight. Get my tip. Just make sure if you've got other tips that you've been using for a few weeks or months or whatever, make sure you put a mark on them to make sure that you know what's an older one and what's a new one. Take note of how long you've been using the tip for, because they don't have, you know, you can't use them forever. They do wear out, and the fan pattern does differ as they wear out on the inside. So I put all my older tips to one side so I can't get it mixed up, because I've got a few other 310s. Before you nip up your head, just make sure you get your tip in first. There we go. And then you can nip up your guard hand tight. Make sure it's square to your gun, obviously. Yeah, a bit tricky. Yep. And that is the way I spray my guard, that way. Tips in. Let's take the handle. Filter in. Nice and clean. I've run probably 10 litres through this by now. Hopefully I won't get any pressure problems again. Okay, nipping up hand tight again. You can see how nice and clean this gun is. This is what high-tech spray do. This was gunked up with paint, and they've cleaned it up nicely for me. Should really treat myself to a brand new gun, to be honest. But if it's working, don't replace it. That's the way I see it. Okay. So new filter. I'm happy with that. So I'm literally just going to make sure that my paint is all stirred. I've shaken it already. I'll give it another one. Okay. Let's go and ping that open. So there are a few different types of hard wearing mats. Johnstone do an acrylic hard wearing mat. I'm just trialing out a few different types. I've used Cova Plus a few times, but it states it's just for walls. But I still get a very good finish. So there we go. Like I said before, the guy at High Tech Spray said to me, thin it down. It's not about the thickness of the paint, it's the way it holds together, he was saying, something like that. Is the bit that, anyway, so I'm going to put that in. Lift up my machine. Just let it drip for a couple of seconds, get the excess water dripping out. Yep, that's enough. you go. And I know that's completely clean in there, so when I start seeing paint coming out of the exit tube, whatever the technical name for it is, I will then just click it straight back on, so then it cycles back and I'm not wasting any paint whatsoever. So yeah, it's quite thick paint. All right, so pressure down low, and let's go and turn it on to, I need to get it out, coming out of this tube first. There's just water coming out. As soon as I start seeing paint, I will chuck it in this pot. There you go, you can hear the difference, can't hear it dripping anymore. The pump should sound like it's working a little bit harder. Nearly there. There we go. And I'm just going to clip that onto my holder here. So now I know that's in the machine, no air in the machine at all. All I really need to do is flick it to my gun. Let me show you that once more. Turn it back on. If you hear popping and chugging, there's still air in it. It's obviously an airless sprayer for a reason, can't have air in the system. Otherwise it won't work. So yeah, you can see the paint coming out nice and consistently. No popping from bubbles. Happy with that. Generally, I turn the machine off before I flip the valve over, even though, I mean, it is possible just to flip the valve. Not sure how good it is for your machine. Just before I turn it on, before you do turn anything on, I've done it so many times, make sure that your lid is closed, your manifold and your gun's on properly, your tip's on properly. I've had it so many times, so I've gone and cleaned it, just plonked this in, gone to do what I've just done here, and after about 30 seconds, I'm like, why is it not coming through? And this is getting higher and higher and higher, and the paint starts pushing it up, and then it starts gushing out. So pain in the ass. Make sure everything's tight before you start. Right, so I've got it on the gun mode now. Turn the power on, low pressure. See what happens. There we go. At the moment, it's built up to 800 PSI. I could go a little bit more. There's two ways. I can either release the pressure. No, to be honest, I should have said this before I built up the pressure. There's two ways. I could either release the pressure, take the head of the gun off, and just let the water come through until I see the paint. Or I could just hold my tip over a bucket and just keep squirting it until the paint comes out. I'm just going to do it this way. It's going to take about 30 seconds. So it's pressure set. I'm going to bring my spit bucket around. Yeah, I haven't moved this before. This is where I squirt if I get a blockage. Okay, so there we go. It's on jet. So I just aim mine into the corner like this. Again, I should have really just taken the gun off. Shall I show you that technique? Right, let's do it. Let's release any pressure that there is and just take the gun off. So at least you see the two techniques. And that way, this is quicker. This is a quicker way because it allows more water to come through and you're not wearing your tip out. Okay, back on again to the gun. I'm not a professional by any standards. I have had a lot of experience, probably 5 years of spraying MDF panels. Yeah, okay, that's coming through now. So now you can put your new tip back in. These sprayers spray at high PSI, so if you're worried, wear goggles, because if you get high powered paint in your eyes, no good is it? So there we go. Back on the gun. It's on nice and tight. I'm happy. All I really need to do is pump up the pressure again. There we go. I'm on the paint again, just so I don't waste it. Yep. So that is ready to rock and roll. All I really need to do is just turn up to the pressure to that I want. So I'm on 1,000. In theory, this should be plenty. About 1,400. Like I said, I am having priming problems. I hope it solved it. The only thing I think it could be is a blockage in the hose itself, if this doesn't work. There we go, put it on fan. And that is the only thing it can be, because all the filters are clean. New tip, new seat on the head of the gun, on the guard. So I guess let's set up the camera and see if it actually sprays nicely. Okay, so this is the moment of truth, whether I've got the pattern back up and whether the machine's working. New tip, new seat in the guard, new filter, new manifold filter, the gun completely clean, the hose completely clean, the inlet hose completely clean. Everything as good as it can actually be, so let's give it a go. And also set up to 1,400 PSI. Okay, tiny bit of tail. It's 1,000 times better than what it was. I'm gonna go up a tiny bit higher. Yeah. Yep, happy with that. Very, very happy. Gone up to about 1,500 PSI, which is a decent range. You know, I used to spray anywhere between sort of like 12, 16, 18, anywhere around those numbers really. You just got to dial it in, don't you? You start low and work your way high. So there we go. Sprayer all primed, ready to go. All I need to do is start on this pile here. So there we go, we've got all of those pieces in there. We've got a rack full here. We've got a little T-shaped piece on the floor and some in this rack here. All of these have had 2 coats of Leyland undercoat primer, acrylic, all water-based. I only ever do water-based. And now ready for the hard wearing mat that is now in the machine. So there you go, guys. I hope that's helped. Got any questions for me, just file them at me in the comments bar. If you like the video, learned anything from it, just like and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, take it easy. See you in the next one. Bye, bye, bye.